Reality shouldn't scream. But on a Tuesday afternoon in Times Square it does. The sound starts as a whisper, a frequency just below human hearing. Dogs howl. Car alarms trigger in waves, spreading outward from nowhere. Pigeons scatter like shrapnel. Then the air tears. Not metaphorically, not figuratively. The fabric of space splits open 40 feet above the Nasdaq billboard, and the wrongness of it hits every human nervous system within a 3-block radius. Nausea, vertigo, the sensation of falling while standing still. The rift bleeds color that shouldn't exist, ultraviolet made visible, infrared turned solid. Light pours out in impossible directions, sideways, backwards, inward. Physics gives up, gravity hiccups. A taxi floats for 3 seconds before crashing back down. People run. They don't know why. Instinct overrides thought. Something emerges from the tear. First, a hand, pale, human-shaped but wrong. Too many joints, fingers bending at angles that make eyes water. Then a body tumbling through, wrapped in energy that crackles and sparks against reality itself. The figure hits the ground in a crouch, one hand touching asphalt that cracks in a perfect circle. White hair, some kind of blindfold, dark clothing that looks expensive and entirely impractical for whatever disaster this is. He stands slowly, tilting his head like he's listening to something no one else can hear. "Well," the stranger says to no one in particular, voice carrying despite the chaos, "this is new." The rift pulses, widens, something else comes through. It looks like a nightmare learned to exist, 12 feet tall, spider-limbed, with a head that splits open vertically to reveal concentric circles of teeth. Its body is shadow-given form, edges flickering like bad reception. Where it steps, the concrete blackens and withers. A cursed spirit, special grade by the feel of it. Gojo's jaw tightens, beneath his blindfold. "Of course you followed me," he mutters. The curse doesn't speak. They rarely do at this level. It just screams, a sound like metal tearing and children crying, and launches itself at the nearest cluster of civilians. Gojo moves. One moment he's standing 40 feet away. The next he's between the curse and a woman clutching her daughter, both frozen in terror. He doesn't run, doesn't even seem to hurry. He's just there. "Hey," Gojo says, voice light, almost playful. He doesn't look at the woman. His attention stays fixed on the curse. "You might want to close your eyes for this part. Gets messy." The curse's claw, blade sharp, dripping something that hisses when it hits concrete, swings down. It stops. 3 inches from Gojo's skull, the attack just stops. The claw strains forward. The air warps and shimmers, but it cannot advance, cannot touch him. Infinity. The space between Gojo and everything else divides forever, an asymptotic approach that never reaches zero. "My turn," Gojo says. He raises one hand, fingers positioned like he's holding something delicate. Blue light sparks between his fingertips, coalescing into a marble of concentrated spatial distortion. Cursed technique lapse, blue. He flicks his wrist. The marble shoots forward and impacts the curse's center mass. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then physics remembers what a black hole does to matter. The curse implodes. Its body compresses, folding inward, 12 feet of nightmare collapsing into a space the size of a baseball. The suction is incredible. Loose papers, trash, anything not bolted down gets pulled toward the singularity. The curse doesn't even have time to scream. When the blue light fades, there's nothing left. Not dust, not residue, nothing. Gojo lowers his hand and turns to the woman. She's hyperventilating, clutching her daughter so hard it must hurt. "You okay?" he asks. His tone is gentle now, the playfulness faded. "I know that was scary, but you're safe. That thing can't hurt you anymore." The little girl peeks out from her mother's shoulder. She can't be more than 6. "Are you a superhero?" she whispers. Gojo crouches down to her eye level. Even with the blindfold, somehow his focus feels warm. "Something like that, kid. Now get somewhere safe, yeah? This might not be over." The mother finds her voice. "Thank you. I don't know who you are, but Thank you. She runs, daughter in her arms, joining the flood of people evacuating the square. Gojo straightens, rolling his shoulders. He looks up at the rift, still bleeding wrong colors across the sky. His 6 eyes, those inherited techniques that let him see the flow of energy, the structure of reality itself, analyze what he's looking at, and he doesn't like what they tell him. Dimensional barriers compromised, he says to himself. That's not closing on its own. 40 miles northeast in upstate New York, klaxons blare through Avengers compound. Tony Stark looks up from a holographic engine schematic. Friday, what am I looking at? Energy signature detected in Manhattan, sir. Times Square specifically. The AI's voice carries an unusual note. Concern if such a thing is possible for an algorithm. Initial readings were impossible. Impossible how? The signature violated 17 laws of physics simultaneously, sir. Current models cannot account for the phenomenon. Tony's eyes narrow. He swipes the engine design away and pulls up sensor data. The readings make no sense. Energy levels spiking into ranges usually reserved for cosmic events, spatial distortion, and something else, a sustained field of some kind, localized around a single point, a person. Get me satellite visual, Tony says, already moving toward the armory. The screen shifts. Live feed from Times Square shows the aftermath. Scorch marks, that impossible rift in the sky, fleeing civilians. And in the center, one figure, white hair, blindfold, hands in his pockets like he's waiting for a bus. Friday, run facial recognition. No matches in any database, sir. Of course not. Tony taps his earpiece. Cap, you seeing this? Steve Rogers' voice comes through clear. Already suiting up. Thor's inbound from Norway. Strange is 20 minutes out. Tell them to hurry. Tony watches the figure on screen tilt his head toward the rift. We've got an unknown entity with reality warping capabilities in the middle of Manhattan. This could go sideways fast. The feed shows the stranger raise one hand toward the rift, and the rift pulses. Widens. Something massive moves on the other side. Gojo's 6 eyes track the movement beyond the tear. His jaw sets. No way, he breathes. Another special grade? Here? The rift tears wider. Reality screams louder. Thunder cracks across the clear sky, except it's not from the rift. Gojo turns. A figure descends from above, cape billowing, hammer crackling with lightning. Blonde hair, armor that looks like it belongs in a museum or a mythology textbook. Thor, god of thunder, lands with enough force to crater the pavement. Sorcerer! Thor's voice booms across the square. Stormbreaker hums with barely contained power. Stand down! By the authority of... The rift pulses. Something roars from within. Gojo and Thor both turn toward it, and something ancient, hungry, and far too large begins pushing through. The thing that emerges from the rift doesn't have a shape so much as it has mass. 20 feet of twisted limbs and screaming faces embedded in shadow flesh. Eyes, dozens of them, blink open across its body in no particular pattern. When it roars, the sound carries harmonics that shatter windows 3 blocks away. Gojo's hand shoots up. Yeah, that's definitely special grade. Thor doesn't lower Stormbreaker. I know not what sorcery you speak of, but talk later, fight now, Gojo interrupts. That thing's about to eat someone. The curse entity lunges, not at them, at a bus. Full of people trapped in gridlock, too terrified to move. Gojo's already gone. He appears beside the bus in a blur of motion that leaves after images. His hand extends palm out toward the creature. Cursed technique reversal, red. The air detonates. Repulsive force erupts from Gojo's palm, the inverse of blue's attraction. The curse is hit by what feels like a planet's worth of kinetic energy compressed into a single point. Its body hurtles backward, smashing through a building's facade, through the support columns, out the other side. The bus rocks on its suspension. The passengers inside scream. "You're welcome," Gojo calls cheerfully. Thor stares. What manner of lightning splits the sky? Iron Man descends in a screaming arc of repulsor thrust, targeting systems already locked on the curse. Okay, Big Ugly, let's see how you like. The curse regenerates. The damage Gojo inflicted reverses itself, shadow flesh knitting back together. Oh, that's just great, Tony mutters. Friday, analysis, entity composition, or as inconsistent with known matter, sir. Recommend. The curse spawns more of itself. Tendrils burst from its mass, each tipped with blade-sharp bone. Everybody down. Captain America's shield cuts through the air, severing 3 tendrils before ricocheting back to Steve's hand. He lands in a crouch beside Thor. What's the situation? Unclear, Thor admits. The white-haired sorcerer appears to be on your side, Gojo finishes, appearing next to them. Mostly. Who are you people? Tony's faceplate snaps up. Who are we? We're the Avengers. Who the hell are you? Gojo tilts his head. What now? Silence. Steve blinks. You don't know who the Avengers are? Should I? We saved the world, Tony says flatly. Multiple times. We're pretty famous. Never heard of you? Another tendril lashes out. Gojo doesn't even look. It hits his infinity and stops dead, 3 inches from his face. He continues the conversation like nothing happened. Look, I'd love to chat, but that thing's regenerating and I don't know this world's rules yet, so maybe we table the introductions and… This world's… Steve's eyes narrow. The curse roars. More tendrils, more mass. It's growing. Fine, Tony snaps. Temporary truce. We kill the monster, then we have a very serious conversation about dimensional travelers and jurisdiction. Works for me. Gojo grins. Try to keep up. He vanishes. Reappears 20 feet up. Let's test something, he says, bringing both hands together, blue light in his left hand, red in his right. If curses exist here, then maybe… The energies spiral together, mixing, amplifying. Hollow purple. The beam that erupts is beautiful and terrible. A violet streak of imaginary mass that erases everything it touches. Not destroys, erases. The curse doesn't get time to regenerate. Where purple passes through, there's simply nothing left. The technique punches through the creature, through the building behind it, through the next building, carving a perfectly circular tunnel. The curse collapses, dissolves, gone. Gojo lands lightly. Okay, so that works here. Good to know. The Avengers stare. Friday, Tony says slowly. Tell me you got readings on that. Sir, my sensors registered the attack as a localized deletion of matter and energy. The physics involved are non-Euclidean. A web line shoots past and Spider-Man swings into view. Mr. Stark, I saw the… Whoa! Peter lands, looking at the tunnel through 2 buildings. Did someone use a reality eraser? Something like that, Gojo says. He studies Peter. You're young, student. Spider-Man, Peter corrects. And I'm not that young, how old are you? 28, and you look 16. I'm 19. Sure you are, kid. Tony steps between them. Fascinating. New question. What the hell was that thing, and why did it follow you through a dimensional rift? Gojo sobers slightly. A cursed spirit, special grade. They're born from negative human emotions in my world, and it followed me because… He trails off, looking at the rift. Because the barrier between dimensions is damaged, which means more could come through. Your world, Steve repeats. You're saying you're from another dimension? Wasn't exactly planned. Gojo touches his blindfold absently. I was teaching a class one moment, fighting a curse the next, and then reality kind of yanked me sideways. Ended up here. Thor nods gravely. I have seen such things before. The 9 realms sometimes overlap when Yggdrasil's branches, the rift pulses. Everyone tenses. But it's not another curse. It's a man in a blue cloak, hovering cross-legged in a meditation pose, surrounded by golden geometric patterns. He descends slowly, eyes glowing with power. Dr. Strange. His expression is grim. You need to come with me, Strange says, looking directly at Gojo. All of you. Now. And you are? Gojo asks. Dr. Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, Master of the Mystic Arts. Strange's hands trace symbols in the air. And you are an anomaly. Your presence here is tearing holes in reality. The longer you exist in this dimension, the worse it gets. Gojo's posture shifts, less playful. I didn't choose this. I know. Strange's voice softens fractionally. But intent doesn't matter to the laws of reality. We need to... The sky darkens. All of it. Instantly. Day becomes night in a blink. Strange's face goes pale. Oh no. Oh no, Tony echoes. I hate when wizard types say, oh no. Golden light appears overhead. Massive. Impossible to look at directly. A voice speaks, not through sound but directly into their minds. Anomaly detected. The light takes shape, 50 feet tall. Humanoid but wrong. Too perfect, too geometric. A celestial. Gojo's 6 eyes go wide. He can see its power signature, and it makes everything else he's encountered look like a candle next to a star. What, he says slowly, is that? Strange grimaces. That is what happens when you break the universe. Everyone, do not attack it. Celestials are designation, dimensional anomaly, classification, unstable, recommendation, correction protocol initiated. The Celestial's hand reaches down toward Gojo. Thor raises Stormbreaker. Stand behind me, sorcerer. I have fought cosmic beings before. Don't, Strange warns. You can't fight a Celestial and win. Gojo steps forward instead, away from the group. His hands drop to his sides. So, he says, looking up at the massive entity, you want to correct me? That another word for kill? Affirmative. Reality must be preserved. Anomalies must be eliminated. Steve moves to stand beside Gojo. Then you'll have to go through us. Tony's repulsors charge. Yeah, we don't kill people for existing. Peter's web shooters click. Even really powerful, kinda scary people. Thor's lightning crackles. The boy speaks true. Gojo looks at them, these strangers, these heroes he's never met, defending him. Something in his chest tightens. You don't have to, he starts. Yes, Steve says firmly. We do. The Celestial's hand descends, and Gojo's infinity flares to life, a dome of impossible space. The collision lights up Times Square like a second sun. The Celestial's hand meets infinity. Reality screams. The shockwave flattens everything in a 3-block radius. Cars flip, windows explode, pavement cracks in spiderweb patterns. The Avengers brace against the force. Peter's mask filters scream warnings. Tony's suit throw. error messages. Thor plants Stormbreaker and channels lightning just to stay grounded. Gojo doesn't move. The hand presses down. Infinity divides the space infinitely. The gap between the Celestial's palm and Gojo's head shrinks, halves, quarters, eighths, approaching 0 but never reaching it. Mathematical impossibility made manifest. Interesting, Gojo says, voice steady despite the cosmic entity trying to crush him. You're strong, really strong, but strength doesn't matter if you can't actually touch me. Paradox detected. Analyzing. The pressure increases, the air itself begins to break down, molecules splitting. Gojo's grin is visible even through his blindfold. Analyze all you want, you're not getting through. Stranger's hands weave patterns frantically. Everyone fall back, I'm creating a... The Celestial stops, withdraws its hand. Insufficient. Direct termination. Ineffective. Alternate assessment required. The golden light dims slightly. The Celestial's form shifts, becoming less solid, more observational. You possess will. Explain. Purpose of existence in this reality. Gojo blinks. You want to talk? Celestials are judges, Strange says quickly, moving closer. They assess. If it thinks you might serve a purpose. I don't serve purposes, Gojo interrupts. I protect people, that's it. Protection. Observed. 13 civilian lives preserved. Hostile entity eliminated. Anomaly status. Potentially beneficial. Potentially, Tony mutters. We've been upgraded from kill on sight to maybe useful. Progress. The Celestial's form solidifies again. Designation, Gojo Satoru. Dimensional origin, Earth 2301 JJK. Arrival, unintentional. Dimensional barrier status, critically damaged. Decision pending. Steve steps forward. He's not a threat. He saved lives. That should count for something. Consequences exceed intent. His presence destabilizes reality structure. 17 additional rifts detected globally. More entities may follow. So help us fix it, Gojo says. You're cosmic, right? Universal authority or whatever? Seal the rifts. Problem solved. Solution, simplistic. Execution, complex. Observation period granted. Duration, temporary. Warning, additional anomalies will summon judgment. The Celestial begins to fade. Gojo Satoru, you are watched. Behave accordingly. And it's gone. The sky returns to normal. Day reasserts itself. Silence. Then Peter. Did we just negotiate with a space god? Apparently, Steve says. He looks at Gojo. You handled that well. Gojo shrugs, but his hands are shaking slightly. He shoves them in his pockets. Just another Tuesday. No, Tony says flatly. That was very much not a normal Tuesday. Strange, your place or mine? Avengers compound, Strange decides. We need full scans and privacy. Half of Manhattan just film. At that encounter. Thor claps Gojo on the shoulder, or tries to. His hand stops 3 inches away, blocked by infinity. Your barrier, Thor says. Is it always active? Has been since I was 6 years old. Gojo's voice is casual, but something in it sounds tired. Automatic defense. Can't turn it off. Peter's spider sense tingles at the loneliness in those words. Avengers compound, 40 minutes later. The testing facility looks like a fusion of Tony's workshop and Strange's sanctum. High-tech sensors alongside mystical wards, holographic displays next to floating runes. Gojo stands in the center, hands still in his pockets, looking around with curiosity. Nice place, very secret base aesthetic. Less talking, more standing still, Tony says, watching data stream across his displays. Friday run a full spectrum analysis. Sir, his energy signature is rewriting my sensor algorithms in real time. That's not possible. Agreed, sir, yet it's happening. Bruce Banner adjusts his glasses, studying readings. Tony, these numbers, they suggest he's perpetually warping space around himself, every second, continuously. Yeah, Gojo confirms. Infinity. Anything approaching me slows down infinitely. It'll never actually reach me. Natasha Romanoff leans against a wall, arms crossed. Nothing? Nothing. Bullets? Stop a few inches out. Explosions. Same. Poison gas. Gojo pauses. Technically it would slow down at the molecular level, so also no. Tony whistles. You're basically invincible. Not basically, actually. Gojo grins. I'm the strongest after all. Humble too, Natasha observes dryly. Humility's for people who have things to be humble about. Steve shakes his head, but he's almost smiling. You remind me of someone. Please don't say Stark, Tony mutters. I was going to say Stark. I'm much better looking, both Gojo and Tony say simultaneously. They glare at each other. Peter laughs. Strange draws a complex pattern in the air, golden light forming runic structures around Gojo. Hold still, I'm analyzing your dimensional signature. You're a mage? Gojo asks, interested now. Sorcerer Supreme. I protect Earth from mystical threats. Huh, we have something similar. Jujutsu sorcerers. We fight cursed spirits, manifestations of negative emotions. And you were one of these sorcerers? I'm the teacher at Jujutsu High. Or was, before. Gojo's voice trails off. Strange's expression softens. Before you were torn away from your world. Yeah. The room falls quiet. Bruce clears his throat. You mentioned students? Gojo's blindfold shifts slightly, probably his eyes closing beneath it. 3 first years I was personally responsible for. Megumi, Yuji, Nobara. They're probably freaking out right now, wondering where I went. You care about them, Steve observes. They're my students. Of course I care. Gojo's tone suggests this is obvious. Peter shifts uncomfortably. He knows that feeling. Responsibility for others. Being the one people rely on. Okay, Thor announces, walking into the center. Enough sad talk. I wish to test this infinity personally. Thor, Steve, starts. With respect, Captain, I am curious. Thor hefts Stormbreaker. A barrier that cannot be breached. I have shattered mountains, fought giants, challenged the void itself. Gojo spreads his arms. Go ahead, full power if you want. You're certain? I'm certain nothing you do will reach me, no offense. Thor's eyes crackle with lightning. None taken, but let us see, shall we? He swings, Stormbreaker blazes with the power of a dying star, lightning wreathing the axe, the air itself ionizing. The weapon descends with enough force to split a continent. It stops. 3 inches from Gojo's skull. The shockwave detonates outward, cracking the reinforced floor, but Gojo doesn't move, doesn't even blink. Impossible, Thor breathes. Infinity, Gojo corrects. Different thing. Thor pulls back, staring at Stormbreaker like it betrayed him. I struck with 96% of my power. Want to try 100? Thor, maybe we don't destroy the compound, Steve suggests. Bruce is frantically typing. The energy from that hit should have obliterated everything in a 100-foot radius, but it just dispersed, like hitting an event horizon. Because that's basically what it is, Gojo explains. Infinite space compressed into a finite boundary. Attack as hard as you want. You're trying to cross infinity. Can't be done. Tony's eyes light up. Wait, show me the math. Really? I'm a genius. Humor me. Gojo shrugs. He starts explaining, using his hands to gesture. Blue light flickers as he demonstrates with cursed energy. Tony's holographic display fills with equations as Friday translates the concepts. He's dividing space by infinity, Tony mutters, creating a Zeno's paradox in physical form. That's brilliant. Told you, I'm a teacher. Gojo looks genuinely pleased. Nice to talk to someone who gets it. Strange finishes his analysis. His expression is troubled. What? Natasha asks. His energy signature is foreign. Completely incompatible with this dimension's fundamental structure. Every second he's here, reality has to adjust around him. It's creating stress fractures. The rifts, Steve says. Yes, the Celestial was right. His presence is destabilizing dimensional barriers. Not intentionally, but it's happening anyway. Gojo's voice is flat. So what? I'm a walking disaster. You're a person caught in an impossible situation, Steve counters firmly. Who also happens to be tearing holes in reality, Gojo points out. We'll fix it, Tony says. We've dealt with reality warping before. Wanda, Loki, that whole time stone mess. This is different, Strange interrupts. Those were internal to this universe. Gojo is external, a foreign element the universe is trying to reject. Silence. Peter speaks up quietly. So, what happens if it succeeds? In rejecting him? Strange doesn't answer. He doesn't need to. Gojo laughs, but it sounds brittle. Well, looks like I'm everyone's problem now. You're not a problem, Steve says. You're a person who needs help. That's different. Is it? Gojo's blindfold tilts towards Steve. I showed up, broke your reality, and now cosmic entities are watching because of me. Sounds like a problem. You also saved 13 people, Peter points out, in like 5 minutes, while confused and lost. That counts for something. The kid's right, Natasha says. We've worked with worse. I'm not a kid. You're 19, Parker. You're a kid. Before Peter can protest, the compound's alarms blare. Friday's voice cuts through. SIRS, detecting massive energy surge. Location, 30,000 feet directly above the compound. Everyone looks up. Through the reinforced glass ceiling, golden light appears. Not one celestial, 3, and between them, something else, larger, more abstract. Stranger's face goes white. Oh no. Stop saying that, Tony shouts. The central figure speaks, and reality bends around each word. Gojo Satoru, the living tribunal requests your presence. The matter of your existence will be judged. The living tribunal doesn't descend so much as reality rearranges itself to accommodate its presence. 3 faces, gold, blue, and red, each representing a cosmic aspect: equity, necessity, vengeance. The entity dwarfs the celestials flanking it, existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Looking at it directly makes human eyes water. Gojo's 6 eyes perceive layers of existence folding around the tribunal, past, present, future, probability itself bending. That, he says quietly, is significantly more powerful than the last one. Strange steps forward, hands already forming protective wards. Living tribunal, I invoke the Ancient One's covenant. This matter falls under Earth's. Stephen Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, your objection is noted and overruled. This matter transcends planetary jurisdiction. The voice comes from all 3 faces simultaneously, harmonizing in ways that shouldn't work. Gojo Satoru, approach. Don't, Tony warns. We don't know what it'll... Gojo walks forward anyway. Steve moves to follow. Thor raises Stormbreaker. Avengers, cease. This judgment concerns the anomaly alone. Like hell it does, Tony snaps. He's standing on our planet. That makes it our business. Curious. The gold face tilts. You defend an entity you met less than 1 solar rotation ago. Explain. Because it's the right thing to do, Steve says simply. Morality, a finite concept applied to infinite consequences. Gojo stops 10 feet from the tribunal, craning his neck to look up. Even with his height, he's dwarfed. So, he says, voice steady, you're here to judge whether I get to exist. That about right? Correct. Your presence 5. Iolates multiversal structural integrity. 17-dimensional fractures have manifested. Projected timeline. Catastrophic cascade within 48 Earth rotations if uncorrected. I didn't ask to be here. Intent is irrelevant. A falling star does not intend to destroy, yet destruction occurs. I'm not a star, I'm a person. Debatable. The blue face regards him. You exist as a paradox. Your technique divides space infinitely within finite bounds. Your very presence contradicts the laws governing this dimension. You are error given form. Gojo's jaw tightens. I've been called worse. This is not insult. This is assessment. The question, does the error serve a purpose or must it be deleted for universal stability? You're talking about killing him, Bruce says, stepping forward. For existing. For something he didn't choose. Bruce Banner, dual-natured entity. You comprehend duality, the needs of the many versus the one. 42 billion sentient beings inhabit this dimension. One anomaly threatens all. Logic dictates correction. Logic, Gojo echoes. He laughs, sharp and bitter. Yeah, I'm familiar with that argument. The strongest has to sacrifice for everyone else. Story of my life. Stranger's eyes narrow. Gojo. No, it's fine. Gojo's voice carries an edge now. Let's talk logic. You said I saved 13 people in my first 5 minutes here, right? Observed and recorded. And I eliminated 2 hostile entities that were actively killing civilians. Correct. So I've already provided net positive value to this dimension. Lives saved minus lives taken equals positive 13. Better ratio than most heroes achieve in a year. Peter blinks. He's arguing with cosmic law using math? He's a teacher, Natasha murmurs. Of course he is. Immediate value, acknowledged. Long-term consequences, catastrophic. Your arithmetic fails to account for timeline extension. Then let me prevent those consequences, Gojo counters. You said the rifts are because of me. Fine, I'll close them. You said entities might come through. I'll stop them. I'm the strongest sorcerer from my dimension. Put me to work. You propose service in exchange for existence. I propose doing what I've always done, protecting people, just on a different Earth. The three faces confer silently. Reality ripples around them. Steve speaks up. He's willing to help, to take responsibility. That shows character. Character, another finite concept. The red face focuses on Steve. Stephen Rogers, Captain America, displaced from your own time. You understand loss of original context. Steve's expression doesn't change. I do, which is why I understand what he's going through. And yet you defend him, despite potential risk to your adopted era. Because people aren't risks to be managed. They're people, with value beyond their utility. Thor steps forward. The mortal speaks wisdom. I have seen countless beings judged across the 9 realms. Power alone does not dictate worth. This man, this sorcerer, acts with honor. He protects the weak. Such warriors should be celebrated, not destroyed. Asgardian perspective, noted. Tony can't stay quiet. Look, Space Judge, I'm going to be real with you. Earth's had a rough decade. Aliens, robots, gods, more aliens, time travel. It's been a whole thing. One more powerful person willing to help instead of conquer will take the latter. Whose odds? Anthony Stark, your logic stems from pattern recognition. Historical data suggests cooperation yields optimal outcomes. Exactly. He could have ignored those rifts, could have let people die while he figured out what happened to him. He didn't. That tells me who he is. Gojo looks back at them, these strangers who keep defending him. His throat tightens. Gojo Satoru, the Avengers speak on your behalf. Curious. You possess no history with them, no established trust, yet they risk cosmic displeasure for your sake. I noticed, Gojo says quietly. Does this influence your decision? What decision? To stay or depart. If we seal the barriers completely, you would be expelled to the dimensional void. Existence would continue, but not here. Alternatively, conditional residence. You remain, but under restrictions. The compound falls silent. Gojo could leave, be free of this dimension's laws, these cosmic entities, these complications. He looks at the Avengers again, at Peter, who sees the same burden of responsibility, at Steve, who understands displacement, at Tony, who leads with logic masking care, at Thor, who offers warriors respect, at Strange, who knows the weight of protecting reality, at Natasha and Bruce, watching carefully, ready to fight for him if needed. He's known them for hours. They're willing to challenge cosmic law for him. His students are gone, his world unreachable, ghetto long dead. But here, conditional how? Gojo asks. Requirements. 1. Assist in preventing interdimensional incursions. 2. Limit reality warping techniques except in extreme circumstances. 3. Submit to periodic cosmic oversight. 4. Accept consequences should you become a threat. That last one's pretty vague. Intentionally, free will requires uncertainty. Gojo considers. I help close the rifts I caused. I don't break reality unless absolutely necessary. I check in with cosmic bureaucracy, and if I go rogue, you delete me. Simplified, but accurate. What about the no-leash part? Tony calls. Gojo smirks. I was getting there. He looks up at the tribunal. I'll accept your conditions with 2 of my own. Anomalies do not dictate terms. This one does. First, I choose my own methods. You set the goal, I decide how to reach it. I'm not your puppet. Acceptable. Results matter more than process. Second condition? If I find a way home, back to my dimension, my students, I get to choose whether to take it, even if it causes problems. The faces confer again. Dangerous condition. Your departure could destabilize this dimension further. Maybe, but you're asking me to build a life here. I can't do that knowing I'm trapped. I need to know it's my choice. Strange inhales sharply. He's right. Agency matters. Forced heroism breeds resentment. Stephen Strange, you comprehend the risk. I do, I accept it. The tribunal pulses with light. Deliberation complete. Gojo Satoru, your conditions are accepted with modification. You may pursue return to your dimension. However, you must first stabilize this dimension's barriers. Estimated duration, variable, minimum 1 Earth year. Gojo nods slowly. I can live with that. Then it is decided. Designation updated. Gojo Satoru, sanctioned anomaly. Status, probationary guardian. You will work with Earth's heroes to maintain multiversal integrity. Failure will result in immediate termination. The red face leans closer. Understand, this is mercy. Argue the value of life to the living tribunal again, and we will be less accommodating. Message received, Gojo says. Good. Doctor Strange will receive updated protocols. The Celestials will monitor your progress. Do not disappoint. INT-US. The tribunal begins to fade. One final observation. You asked whether you deserve existence. The answer? Existence is not deserved. It simply is. What you do with it determines value. Choose wisely. And they're gone. The sky clears. The pressure lifts. Gojo staggers slightly. Peter catches his arm, or tries to. His hand stops 3 inches away. Infinity, Peter says. Right. Sorry. It's fine. Gojo's voice is rough. He looks at his hand, at the barrier that never stops. I'm fine. He's not. Steve sees it. The way Gojo's shoulders are tight, the slight tremor in his fingers. You just had your entire existence put on trial, Steve says gently. You don't have to be fine. Gojo's laugh is shaky. In my world, I was the strongest, untouchable, unquestionable. Here I'm probationary, conditional. It's humbling, Tony suggests. Terrifying, Gojo admits. If I screw up, I don't just die. I get erased, and I dragged all of you into it. We walked into it, Natasha corrects. Voluntarily, you didn't ask us to defend you. Why did you? Silence. Then Steve. Because it was right. That's it. Just right? That's enough, Steve says simply. Gojo stares at him, at all of them. I don't understand you people, he finally says. You will, Thor promises, clapping toward his shoulder and remembering infinity at the last second. You will train with us, fight beside us. Perhaps share mead, though I suspect your barrier would reject it. Actually, I can turn it off manually for things I want to touch. I just don't, usually. Why not? Peter asks. Gojo goes quiet. Strange clears his throat. We should debrief. There's still the matter of those 17 rifts. Later, Steve decides. First, Gojo needs rest. It's been a long day. I'm fine. You just had your existence judged by cosmic law, Bruce interrupts. That's not a fine situation. You need downtime. Friday, Tony says. Prep a guest room, somewhere quiet. Already done, sir. Gojo looks around at them again. These strangers who fought for him, who spoke up when cosmic entities demanded his erasure. Thank you, he says quietly. I'm not good at this, but thank you. You're welcome, Steve says. They start heading inside. Gojo follows, hands in his pockets trying to process everything. Peter falls into step beside him. Hey, for what it's worth, I think you're gonna fit in here. Yeah? Yeah, we're all kind of displaced. Tony's got PTSD from aliens. Thor lost his whole planet. Mr. Rogers is from the 1940s. Banner's got anger management issues that turn him into a giant rage monster. Strange died and learned magic. We're all figuring it out. Gojo huffs a laugh. What about you? Me. I got bit by a radioactive spider and now I stick to walls and fight crime while trying to pass chemistry. So, normal teenager stuff. Despite everything, Gojo smiles. They reach the compound entrance. Gojo pauses, looking back at the sky. Clear now. Blue. Wrong constellations, but beautiful anyway. This universe, he murmurs. It's not home. Peter watches him carefully. But maybe it could be, Gojo finishes. They head inside. Later that night, Gojo sits alone in his assigned room. Sparse but comfortable. He's removed his blindfold. The room is dark enough that his 6 eyes won't overwhelm him. He pulls out his phone. No signal, obviously. Different dimension. But the photos are still there. Megumi, looking annoyed at being photographed. Yuji, grinning widely, giving a thumbs up. Nobara, mid-eye roll but smiling. His students. His kids, really, though he'd never say it out loud. They're moving on without him now, wondering where he went, maybe thinking he abandoned them. The thought hurts more than he expected. A knock at the door. Yeah. Strange enters carrying 2 cups. Tea, thought you might want company. I'm fine. You keep saying that, but I've been where you are, lost, displaced, trying to figure out what you are when everything you knew gets torn away. Strange sits. After my accident, I wasn't a surgeon anymore. I didn't know who I was. It took time to rebuild that. Gojo accepts the tea. How long? Years. But you have advantages I didn't. You have people willing to help. I had people before. They relied on me. I was the one who protected everyone else. And now? Gojo's quiet for a long moment. Now I don't know what I am. So we figure it out, Strange says. Together. That's what teams do. I'm not good at teams. Neither was Tony. Neither was I. We learned. Strange stands. Get some rest. Tomorrow we start dealing with those rifts. You'll need your strength. He leaves. Gojo sits in the darkness, holding his tea, looking at photos of students he might never see again. Outside, the sky shifts. The first rift tears open. Alarms blare. Gojo's on his feet instantly, blindfold materializing. Over the compound intercom, all Avengers to deployment. Multiple breaches detected. New York, Tokyo, London, Paris, Mumbai, Beijing, Rio. Friday's voice, calm despite the crisis. 17 simultaneous incursions confirmed. Energy signatures match Gojo's arrival pattern. Gojo's already running toward the briefing room. Strange meets him in the hallway, portals forming. Ready? Strange asks. Gojo grins, sharp and dangerous. I was born ready. Behind them, the Avengers assemble. And somewhere beyond dimensions, something ancient stirs. The rifts aren't accidents, they're invitations. Something is testing Earth's defenses, and it knows exactly where Gojo Satoru is. 2 days. 48 hours of sealing rifts across the globe. Gojo's worked with every Avenger at least twice, fought alongside. Thor in London, collapsed a breach with Strange in Mumbai, protected civilians with Steve in Paris. Tony's been scanning him constantly, trying to understand how his technique works. Bruce keeps asking about cursed energy theory. Natasha watches him like she's waiting for him to crack. He hasn't, because Gojo Satoru doesn't crack. He's the strongest. That's what he tells himself at 2 a.m. on the compound's rooftop, staring at stars that are wrong. Different constellations, different sky, different universe. Home is gone. His students are gone. Everything he was, gone. But he's fine. He has to be fine. Because if the strongest breaks, what hope does anyone else have? Can't sleep either. Gojo doesn't turn. His 6 eyes already identified Peter Parker climbing up the wall, moving with spider grace. Sleep's overrated, Gojo says, besides wrong constellations, distracting. Peter settles beside him, legs dangling over the edge. His mask is off, just a kid with tired eyes and messy hair. You miss home. It's not a question. Gojo's jaw tightens. I miss my students. The 3 you mentioned, Megumi, Yuji, Nobara. You remembered. I'm good with names. Teacher thing. Peter picks at his web shooter. I teach too. Part-time. Science program at a community center in Queens. Gojo glances at him. Yeah? Yeah. Kids from rough neighborhoods mostly. Some of them remind me of me, you know? Before the spider bite. Just trying to figure out where they fit. Peter's quiet for a moment. You care about them. Your students. They're my responsibility. That's not what I asked. Gojo's silent. Peter continues, softer now. My Uncle Ben used to say, with great power comes great responsibility. But he never mentioned how lonely it gets, how everyone expects you to have all the answers because you're the one with the abilities. Your uncle sounds wise. He was, he's gone now. I'm sorry. Yeah, me too. Peter looks up at the wrong stars. But the thing is, he was right. The responsibility part. I can do things other people can't, so I have to use that to help. But sometimes I want to be Peter Parker, you know, not Spider-Man, just a guy who's bad at chemistry and worse at talking to girls. Gojo huffs a laugh. How old are you, really? 19. I know, everyone thinks I'm younger. You are younger. To me, anyway. How old are you? 28. But I've been the strongest since I was born, so it feels older. Peter turns to look at him. What's that like, being the strongest your whole life? Gojo's quiet for a long moment. Lonely, he finally admits. When you're the strongest, everyone relies on you. Every problem becomes your problem. Every threat is yours to handle, and you can't ask for help because you're the strongest. You're supposed to have all the answers. But you don't. No, I don't. Gojo's voice drops. I lost my best friend, Suguru Geto. We were going to change the world together, protect people, build something better. But he saw too much darkness, too many humans hurting each other. He decided the only way to fix it was to eliminate all non-sorcerers. Peter's eyes widen. What did you... I tried to talk him down, for years, but he wouldn't stop, wouldn't compromise. Eventually I had to... Gojo's hands clench. I had to kill him, my best friend, the only person who understood what it was like to be this strong. I killed him because it was the right thing to do. God, Peter breathes. And now I'm here, in a different universe. My students are back there without me. They're facing threats I was supposed to handle, and I'm... He gestures around. I'm here, playing hero with strangers. We're not strangers anymore, Peter says quietly. Are we? Gojo looks at him. This kid, 19 years old, carrying the weight of a city on his shoulders, still finding time to teach, to help, to care. No, Gojo admits. I guess not. Mr. Stark says you could probably solo any threat on Earth. That true? Probably. That must be weird, knowing you're that powerful. It's isolating. Gojo touches his blindfold. My 6 eyes see everything. Energy flows, probability threads, weak points in reality itself. I process information at speeds that would burn out human brains. And my infinity, I haven't been touched by another person in over 20 years. Peter's expression shifts. Wait, what? Infinity's been active since I was 6. Automatic defense. Anything that tries to touch me gets stopped. People, objects, air molecules, everything. But you can turn it off, right? You said, I can, manually, for things I want to interact with, food, drink, whatever. But I don't, not for people. Why not? Gojo's quiet. Then, so soft, Peter almost misses it. Because if I let someone in, they become a weakness, and I can't afford weaknesses. Too many people depend on me. Peter's heart breaks a little. This guy, this impossibly powerful, cocky, seemingly invincible sorcerer. He's so alone it hurts. That's not weakness, Peter says. That's human. I'm not sure I know how to be human anymore. Been a weapon for too long. You're a teacher, Peter counters. You protect people. You chose to stay here even though it scares you. That's human. That's more human than half the actual humans I know. Gojo laughs, rough and surprised. You're wise for a 19-year-old. I've had practice. Lost Uncle Ben when I was 15. Got bit by the spider at 14. I've been Spider-Man longer than I was just... Peter. You ever wish you could go back, before the powers? Peter considers. Sometimes. But then I think about the people I've saved, the difference I've made, and I realize I can't stand alone at the top. That's what you're doing, right? Standing at the top because you think you have to? Gojo doesn't answer. Peter continues. The thing is, you don't. That's what the Avengers are for. That's what being on a team means. You don't have to carry everything yourself. I don't know how to do that. Then learn. You're a teacher. You're good at learning, right? Despite everything, Gojo smiles. Yeah, I am. They sit in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Gojo does something he hasn't done in 22 years. He reaches up and consciously, deliberately, lowers his infinity. Just for a moment, just in a small area. Peter, he says quietly. Yeah? Put your hand on my shoulder. Peter blinks. What? Just do it, please. Peter reaches out slowly, expecting the familiar resistance. His hand touches cloth, feels warmth underneath, actual contact. Gojo's breath hitches. It's been so long, so impossibly long since another person touched him, really touched him. Peter's hand is warm, solid, real. You okay? Peter asks, concerned. Gojo's voice is rough. Yeah, just forgot what that felt like. Peter doesn't move his hand. We're not strangers, and you're not alone. Not anymore. Something in Gojo's chest loosens, something that's been locked tight since Geto died, since he became the strongest and stayed there, untouchable, unreachable. Thank you, he whispers. You're welcome. The compound's alarms shriek to life. Peter's hand jerks back. Gojo's infinity snaps back into place automatically. Friday's voice echoes across the rooftop. Alert. Dimensional breach detected. Location, Tokyo, Japan. Coordinates match previous incursion site. Energy signature is unusual. Strange's voice crackles over comms. All available Avengers to the briefing room. Gojo, we need you. Gojo stands, blindfold settling back into place. But something's different now. Lighter. Peter's already pulling his mask on. Tokyo. That where you're from? Different Tokyo. But yeah. They head toward the door. Strange appears through a portal, expression grim. Gojo, this breach is different. It's not random. Someone's deliberately creating it. Who? We don't know. But whoever it is, they're using a technique similar to yours, and they're specifically targeting locations connected to you. Gojo's 6 eyes narrow behind his blindfold. Show me. They portal to the briefing room. The holographic display shows Tokyo's skyline. A rift tears through the air above Shibuya Crossing. Cursed energy pours out, familiar cursed energy. Gojo's blood runs cold. That's impossible. Tony looks up from his console. What is? That technique, that specific cursed energy signature. Gojo's voice is tight. I've only felt it once before. When? Steve asks, already suiting up. Gojo's hands clench into fists. When my best friend was still alive. The holographic display shifts. A figure stands in the rift's center. Long dark hair, monks, robes. A smile that Gojo knows like his own reflection. Suguru Geto, dead for 3 years. Standing in Tokyo, Earth 616, calling him home. Satoru. The figure's voice echoes through dimensional space, carried by cursed energy that shouldn't exist here. I've been looking for you. The portal deposits them on a Tokyo rooftop. Wrong Tokyo. Earth 616's version, but close enough that Gojo's chest tightens. The neon, the crowds, the Shibuya Crossing stretching below. Home. Not home. The figure floats 20 feet away, standing on nothing, surrounded by cursed energy that ripples like heat waves. Geto's face, Geto's smile, Geto's voice. You look good, Satoru. Different world agrees with you. Gojo's infinity flares unconsciously. That's not possible. You're dead. I killed you myself. Did you? The figure tilts its head. Or did you want to believe you did? Easier than accepting I might still be out there, still trying to fix this broken world. Stranger's hands glow with golden light, forming protective wards. Gojo, that's not your friend. It's, I know. Gojo's voice is flat, cold. Geto didn't talk like that, didn't stand like that, and his cursed energy signature is wrong. His 6 eyes analyze every detail. You're wearing his face. Bad move. The figure's smile widens, perceptive. But does it matter? I can give you what you want most. You don't know what I want. Don't I? The air shimmers. Megumi Fushiguro, Yuji Itadori, Nobara Kugisaki, your students. They're struggling without you, Satoru, facing curses they're not ready for, wondering why their teacher abandoned them. Gojo's jaw clenches. I didn't abandon. They don't know that. They think you left, that something was more important than them. Tony's repulsors charge. Okay, emotional manipulation guy, that's enough. The figure waves a hand. Reality shifts. They're not on the rooftop anymore. They're in Jujutsu High's classroom. Sunlight streams through windows. Desks scratched with student graffiti. Everything exactly as Gojo remembers. And there, sitting at desks, looking up at him, his students. Megumi, arms crossed, trying to look indifferent but relief written across his face. Yuji, jumping up, grinning wide. Gojo-sensei, you're back. Nobara, rolling her eyes but smiling. Took you long enough. We've got like 3 missions backed up. It's perfect. It's home. It's not real. This is a vision, Gojo says, voice cracking slightly. Illusion. Dream manipulation. Does it matter? The figure's voice comes from everywhere. I can make it real, send you back, right to the moment before you left. You'll appear in your classroom, confused for a second, then everything continue. It's like nothing happened. Megumi stands. Sensei, you okay? You zoned out for a second. Gojo's hands shake. He wants this. God, he wants this so badly it hurts. How? He asks. The vision shifts. Now they're in the compound briefing room. The Avengers watch with concern. Strange's expression is grim. Gojo, it's a trap, Strange warns. Whatever it's offering, let him speak, Gojo says. The figure materializes beside him, still wearing Geto's face. The rifts that brought you here, they can work both ways. I've been studying them, analyzing. I can create a stable bridge between dimensions, send you home. All I need is your help. Help with what? Your infinity technique. It's unique. It divides space infinitely within a finite boundary. Beautiful, elegant, and exactly what I need to hold dimensional rifts open permanently. Steve steps forward. You want to tear down the barriers between dimensions. The figure's smile is sharp. I want to unite them. Why should reality be segregated? Why wall off worlds from each other? Imagine the possibilities. Magic from one dimension, technology from another, beings from a third. Infinite potential. Infinite chaos, Strange counters. The dimensions are separate for a reason. Mixing them would evolve everything, the figure interrupts. Force adaptation, strength through trial. Those are Geto's words, his philosophy twisted. Gojo's voice is quiet. What are you really? The figure drops the pretense slightly. The face flickers. For a moment, something else shows through. Ancient, hungry, formless. I am Nightmare, Lord of the Dream Dimension, Architect of fears and desires. I've watched you through the rifts, Gojo Satoru, seen your strength, your loneliness, your desperate wish to go home. And you're offering to grant it. Yes, work with me. Use your infinity to stabilize the rifts I create. In exchange, I'll send you back. You'll wake up in your classroom, surrounded by your students like this was all a bad dream. The vision shifts again. Gojo's classroom, but this time, more detail. He can hear Yuji's laugh, smell the chalk dust, feel the sunlight's warmth. Nobara's arguing with Megumi about a mission. Yuji's practicing hand-to-hand forms in the corner, normal, safe, home. And there, at his desk, photographs, his students smiling, mission reports, lesson plans, his life, the one he lost. You'll remember this dimension as a dream, Nightmare whispers, a strange dream about gods and heroes, but you'll be home, with your students, where you belong. Gojo's throat is tight. Peter's voice cuts through. Gojo, don't listen, that's not real. It could be, Nightmare says. I'm offering him everything he wants, his world, his purpose, his family. What do you offer? Conditional existence, cosmic oversight, fear that one mistake means erasure. We offer truth, Steve says firmly, and truth is harder than fantasy, but it's real. Nightmare laughs. Is it? You've known him for days. His students, he raised them, trained them, bled for them. You think you can compete with that? The vision intensifies. Megumi approaches. Sensei, you're doing it again, the zoning out thing. You've been stressed lately. Maybe take a day off. Yuji joins them. Yeah, we could go get food, that ramen place you like. Nobara snorts. He likes every ramen place. Not true, I have standards. They're bantering, easy, comfortable, like family. Gojo closes his eyes behind his blindfold. His students need him. His world needs him. This dimension has the Avengers. They're fine without him. He could go home. All he has to do is no. The word is quiet but absolute. The vision fractures. What? Nightmare's voice carries surprise. Gojo opens his eyes. The classroom fades. Back to the rooftop. The real Tokyo below. The Avengers watching. I said no. His voice is stronger now. You made your first mistake wearing Ghetto's face. Want to know your second? Enlighten me. You assumed I'd sacrifice others for what I want. That's not who Ghetto was. Even at the end, twisted as his methods were, he believed he was protecting someone. He'd never ask me to endanger innocence for a selfish wish. This isn't selfish. It's returning to where you belong. By tearing down dimensional barriers, letting entities pour through, endangering billions across multiple realities. Gojo's infinity expands. Yeah, that's selfish, and I'm not doing it. Nightmare's facade drops completely. The Ghetto image melts away. What remains is shadow and stars, a being of pure dream stuff and cosmic hunger. You'll regret this. I've seen your dreams, Satoru. Every night you sleep here, you dream of home, of your students crying, wondering where you went. How long before that breaks you? Maybe it will, Gojo admits. Maybe I'll regret this every day, but at least I'll regret it while doing the right thing. Peter's voice is warm. That's very Spider-Man of you. Sentimental, Nightmare hisses. Foolish. You choose strangers over family. They're not strangers anymore. Gojo looks at the Avengers. Are we? Steve shakes his head. No, we're not. Thor grins. The sorcerer has chosen honor. I approve. Tony. Welcome to terrible decision-making for the right reasons. We're all experts here. Nightmare's form ripples with rage. You'll change your mind when you see what's really coming, what your presence here has awakened. What are you talking about? Strange demands. The rifts aren't random. They're cracks in a prison. Every breach weakens the barriers, and something ancient has noticed, something that makes me look like a minor inconvenience. Nightmare's voice drops to a whisper that echoes across dimensions. I was just a scout, testing Earth's defenses, measuring the anomaly's power. The real threat, it's already coming. The sky tears. Not a rift, a wound. Reality bleeds. From beyond, something moves, massive, incomprehensible. Each glimpse of it makes human minds scream. What is that? Natasha breathes. Strange's face goes white. That's impossible. The devourer of coherence. It's a cosmic concept, not a being. It doesn't exist in physical form. It does now, Nightmare says, already fading. Thanks to our friend here. His infinity is a paradox. Paradoxes attract it like blood in water. Good luck, Avengers. You're going to need it. Nightmare vanishes. The wound in reality pulses, something pushes through. A hand, then another, each finger the size of a building. The geometry is wrong, angles that shouldn't exist, colors that hurt to perceive. The devourer pulls itself into their dimension, and it speaks in a voice like universes colliding. Anomaly detected, inconsistency located, consumption protocol initiated. Its presence distorts everything. Buildings warp, gravity hiccups, the laws of physics forget how to work. Gojo's infinity flickers. For the first time in 22 years, his absolute defense wavers. "Oh," he says quietly, "that's bad." Tony's sensors are screaming. "Friday, analysis. Unable to analyze, sir. Entity violates all known physical laws. It shouldn't exist." "But it does," Bruce says, horror in his voice. The devourer focuses on Gojo. "You. Paradox. Inconsistency. You do not belong. You will be corrected." It reaches for him. Steve's shield is up. Defensive positions. Thor summons lightning. "For Asgard." Peter shoots webs, knowing they won't help but trying anyway. Strange creates dimensional barriers, golden shields overlapping. The devourer's hand passes through them all, touches Gojo's infinity, and starts to pull, not physically, conceptually, trying to erase the paradox. Erase Gojo himself. Pain, real pain. For the first time since childhood, something is bypassing infinity, getting through. Gojo screams. "Gojo!" Peter's voice. The world whites out. When vision returns, they're back at the compound. Strange's emergency evacuation spell. Gojo collapses. The Avengers catch him, actually catch him, because infinity is down, flickering, failing. "What happened?" Steve demands. Strange is pale, shaking. It's targeting him specifically. The Devourer exists to correct universal inconsistencies, and Gojo is the biggest inconsistency Earth 616 has ever seen. "How do we fight it?" Tony asks. "We can't. It's not a being, it's a cosmic function, like gravity or entropy. You don't fight it. You remove the inconsistency or it removes me." Gojo finishes weakly. Blood drips from his nose. His infinity sparks and stutters. "It's negating my technique. We're paradoxes to each other. Two impossible things can't exist in the same space." "Then we make it possible," Steve says firmly. "Cap, I don't think you understand," Tony starts. "I understand that we don't abandon people. We find another way." Thor nods. "We have faced impossible odds before." "Not like this," Strange whispers. This is beyond anything I've seen. We need help. The Sorcerer Supreme's full power. Maybe the Vishanti. Perhaps even..." Alarms blare. Friday. Multiple breaches detected worldwide. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Paris, Beijing, Rio. Energy signature matches the Devourer. It's everywhere at once. The holographic display shows 17 locations, 17 wounds in reality, the Devourer manifesting simultaneously across the globe, all converging on one target, Gojo Satoru. "We're out of time," Bruce says. Gojo pushes himself up. His infinity is barely functioning. He's vulnerable, touchable. "Oh, human." "Then we fight now," he says. "All of us, together." Steve looks at him, at this man who chose them over his home, over his students, over everything he wanted. "Together," Steve agrees. The Avengers assemble. And somewhere in the spaces between dimensions, the Devourer of Coherence prepares to feast on paradox. Earth's heroes have 48 hours. Then Gojo Satoru will cease to exist, or reality will tear itself apart trying to keep him. The war room erupts with controlled chaos. Maps fill every screen, 17 breach points worldwide, the Devourer manifesting at each one, converging. Fury's face appears on the main display. "Avengers, SHIELD is coordinating global evacuation. We've got 3 hours before those things reach critical mass, maybe less. We need teams, Steve says, already thinking tactically. Hit each breach simultaneously, slow them down while Strange figures out a permanent solution. There is no solution, Strange says quietly. The Devourer isn't alive. It's a universal constant, like entropy. You can't stop it, only redirect it. Then we redirect it, Tony snaps. Friday, split the team, optimal deployment based on threat assessment. The AI calculates instantly. Recommended deployment, Team Alpha, New York, Team Beta, London, Team Gamma, Tokyo. Remaining locations assigned to SHIELD enhanced units and international heroes. Thor hefts Stormbreaker. I will take London. The mortals there have suffered enough alien invasions. I'll anchor Tokyo, Gojo says. His voice is steady, but his infinity still flickers, inconsistent. I know the layout better than Earth 616's version, but close enough. Peter looks at him. You're not at full power. Your technique doesn't matter. People need protecting. Gojo's 6 eyes glow behind his blindfold. That's what I do. Steve nods. Carol's en route from off-world. Rhodey's mobilizing from the west coast. Clint and Wanda are 40 minutes out. We use what we have. Team compositions, Natasha says, pulling up tactical displays. New York, Steve, Tony, Bruce, Peter and Strange. London, Thor, Rhodey and Wanda. Tokyo, Gojo, Carol and Clint. I'm going to Tokyo, Peter says suddenly. Everyone looks at him. Gojo's technique is failing. He's vulnerable for the first time in his life. He needs backup who understands how he fights. Peter's voice is firm. I'm going. Gojo starts to protest. Kid, I'm 19, and you don't get to play solo anymore, remember? Peter's tone softens. We don't stand alone. That's what you're learning, right? Gojo's quiet for a moment. Then he smiles. Yeah, okay. Strange creates portals. Golden circles to 17 locations simultaneously. These will stay open for emergency evacuation. But once the Devourer manifests fully, even my magic won't be reliable. How long do we have? Bruce asks. At current convergence rate, 2 hours before they reach Gojo's location. After that, Strange doesn't finish. Steve grips his shield. Then we buy time, hold the line, protect civilians, standard play. Nothing about this is standard Cap, Tony mutters, but he's already suiting up, the nanotech armor flowing across his body. Gojo watches them prepare, these people who barely know him, ready to fight impossible odds, for him. Why? He asks quietly. Steve hears him anyway. Because it's right, and because you're one of us now. I chose this dimension over my home, over my students. They might never forgive me for that. They would, Peter says with certainty, because you chose to protect people. That's who you are. The portals stabilize. Avengers, Steve says. Let's go save the world. Again. Tokyo manifests in a golden circle. Shibuya Crossing, midnight local time. The massive intersection should be empty at this hour, but people are running, screaming, pointing at the sky. The wound in reality pulses overhead. Gojo steps through first. His infinity sparks weakly around him, not the impenetrable barrier it should be, more like a flickering shield. Vulnerable. Carol Danvers arrives in a streak of light, already glowing with cosmic power. Status? Breach is widening, Gojo says, 6 eyes analyzing. The Devourer's using it as an anchor point. Physical manifestation in approximately 20 minutes. Clint emerges from Strange's portal, bow ready. 20 minutes, great. Love a ticking clock. Peter swings in last, landing beside Gojo. Civilians? 4 blocks, minimum, maybe more in buildings. Gojo's already moving. We split up. Carol, aerial coverage. Clint, high ground, sniper support. Peter and I take street level. You're not in command, Carol points out. Not hostile, just fact. No, but I know this city better than you. And that thing up there? Gojo points at the wound. It's here for me, which means I'm bait, so we use that. Carol considers, nods. Solid tactical thinking. Okay, Sensei, what's the play? We evacuate everyone we can. When the Devourer manifests, we keep it focused on me while you hit it with everything you've got. Maybe we can disrupt it long enough for Strange to work whatever miracle he's planning. And if there's no miracle? Clint asks. Gojo's quiet. Then we improvise. The sky tears wider. Something pushes through. Not the Devourer yet. Smaller manifestations. Reality-warped creatures that shouldn't exist. Geometric nightmares with too many angles. Living paradoxes that hurt to look at. Inconsistencies. Drawn by Gojo's presence like moths to flame. Contact! Carol launches upward, fists blazing with photon energy. She punches through 3 entities in one pass. They dissolve into probability dust. Clint's arrows fly, explosive tips. Each one finds a target. These things are like the ones from the rifts, but worse. They're not cursed spirits, Gojo says, blue energy forming in his palm. They're reality trying to correct itself, making antibodies. He launches the technique. Spatial manipulation crushes 5 entities into a singularity, but more come, dozens, hundreds, pouring from the wound like blood from a cut. Peter swings through them, web striking, dodging. Guys, they're multiplying. Because I'm still here, Gojo realizes. I'm the infection. They'll keep spawning until an entity lunges at him. His infinity flickers, fails. The creature's claw rakes across his shoulder. Blood sprays. Real blood. Real pain. Gojo hasn't bled in combat in over 2 decades. Gojo! Peter's there instantly, Webb yanking him back. Your defense? I know! Gojo's hand presses his wound. It's not deep, but the shock is profound. Infinity's failing. The Devourer's presence is negating it. Carol descends, creating a photon barrier around them. Then we extract you. Get you somewhere safe while... No, that just delays it. And more people die while we run. Gojo stands. Blood seeps through his fingers, but his voice is firm. We hold here. Protect the civilians. That's the mission. The mission is keeping you alive, Clint counters from his perch. Why? I'm the reason this is happening. Gojo's frustration breaks through. I'm the anomaly, the inconsistency. Maybe if I just... Don't, Peter says sharply. Don't you dare finish that sentence. We're not sacrificing you to make this easier. Kid's right, Carol agrees. We find another way. An explosion rocks the district. 3 blocks away, a building collapses. People scream. Gojo's already moving, teleportation carrying him there in a blink. His infinity might be failing, but his other techniques still work. Red technique blasts away debris. Blue pulls civilians from wreckage. Purple carved a path through attacking entities. He saves 17 people in 40 seconds. Then his technique stutters. Cursed energy fluctuating. Everything about him is being rejected by this universe. Peter swings in, webbing up falling concrete. I've got these 3. You focus on reality glitches. The street flickers between present and past. For a moment, Edo period Tokyo overlays modern skyscrapers, then future, then nothing, just void. It's destabilizing, Clint shouts. The Devourer's breaking down local reality. Carol's fists burn brighter. Then we end this fast. She rockets upward toward the wound itself. Photon blasts, full power, the kind that can crack moons. The energy pours in, and the wound absorbs it, grows larger. No! Stranger's voice crackles over comms from New York. Don't feed it energy. You're making it stronger. Carol pulls back, cursing. The wound pulses. Something emerges. Not the full Devourer. A fragment, a shard of cosmic concept made semi-physical. 20 feet tall, geometry that shifts every second, colors from outside the visible spectrum. It looks at Gojo. Paradox, inconsistency. You damage universal integrity. Cease. Yeah, I'm getting that message, Gojo mutters. Not great at listening, though. The fragment attacks, not with force, with concept. It tries to erase Gojo from existence, to make reality forget he was ever here. Gojo's infinity flares desperately, holds, barely. His nose bleeds, eyes burn behind the blindfold. Peter shoots webs at the fragment. They pass through harmlessly. Nothing's working. Carol tries again, different approach, grabs the entity physically. Her hands sink into its form. It starts erasing her. Carol, Gojo's red technique blasts her free. She tumbles back, gasping. Part of her arm is fuzzy, uncertain, like reality can't decide if it exists. It's not just attacking, she realizes, horror in her voice. It's unmaking things, removing them from causality. Clint fires arrows, explosive, sonic, electromagnetic, all pass through. "We can't fight this," he shouts. More fragments emerge, 3, 5, 10, all converging on Gojo. "Run," Gojo yells. "Get out of here." "Not happening." Peter BS to his side. The fragments press closer. Gojo's infinity is failing completely now. He can feel it unraveling. The technique that's protected him since childhood, burning away like paper. He's going to die. Or worse, be erased, like he never existed. But around him, civilians are still running. A mother with her daughter, an old man being helped by a young woman. People, living, breathing people. His students' faces flash through his mind. Not here, not his students, but people he can still protect. His purpose hasn't changed, just the location. "Strange," Gojo says into comms, voice steady despite the pain. "Tell me you have a plan." Static. Then Strange's voice, heavy with terrible knowledge. "There's one way, but Gojo, it costs." "I know what it costs," Gojo interrupts. "Explain it anyway." Silence on the line. Everyone listening. "Your infinity is a paradox," Strange says slowly. "The Devourer exists to resolve paradoxes. You're locked in a zero-sum equation. But if we could use that, create a domain expansion at universal scale, trap the Devourer in infinite space, collapse it on itself, it would burn out my technique completely," Gojo finishes. 6 eyes and limitless, gone, permanently. "Yes." Peter's voice breaks. "No, there has to be another." "There isn't," Gojo says. His voice is calm, almost peaceful. "Is it?" Strange's silence is answer enough. The fragments are 10 feet away, 5. Reality glitches harder. Buildings phase in and out. Time hiccups. "How long to set it up?" Gojo asks. "We need to draw all the Devourer manifestations to one point, full convergence. Then you execute the domain. It'll take everything you have, and when it's done, I'll be human, powerless, normal." "Yes." 3 feet. Gojo looks at Peter, at Carol, at Clint, at these heroes who fought beside him. "Okay," he says, "let's do it." "Gojo," Peter starts. "It's my choice, kid, and I'm choosing to save people. One last time as the strongest." He smiles behind his blindfold. "Seems fitting." Steve's voice cuts in. "We need time to coordinate, to get everyone to the convergence point." "How much time?" 30 minutes. The fragments touch Gojo's failing infinity. Pain explodes through him. "We don't have 30 minutes, Carol shouts. Tony's voice. "Then we make the time. All teams execute Protocol Omega, draw the Devourers toward New York. We end this at the compound." Thor from London. "On my way." Wanda. "Converging." Rhodey. 2 minutes out. The Avengers mobilize. Every hero. Every team. Racing to at one location, to witness Gojo Satoru's last stand. The fragments press closer. Gojo's infinity shatters like glass. For the first time in 22 years, he's completely vulnerable. A fragment's hand reaches for his chest. Peter webs it, yanking back. "Not today!" Carol grabs Gojo, photon-boosted flight carrying them skyward. "We're getting you to the compound, now." Behind them, Tokyo glitches into chaos. But ahead, through Stranger's portal, the Avengers, all of them, ready for war, ready to protect their own. Gojo looks back at the wound in reality, at the fragments converging, at the full devourer beginning to manifest. Its voice echoes across dimensions. Anomaly located. Final correction imminent. Gojo Satoru, you will be unmade. Carol carries him through the portal. It closes. They land at Avengers compound, and standing there, assembled in full force, every hero Earth can muster. Steve steps forward. You ready? Gojo's infinity is gone, his power flickering, his very existence being rejected by reality itself. But he stands tall. I was born ready. Above them the sky tears open. The devourer of coherence arrives, all of it, fully manifested. Reality screams, and the final battle begins. The devourer of coherence fills the sky. It's not one being, it's countless fragments coalesced into something approximating physical form, geometric impossibilities stacked on conceptual nightmares, every angle wrong, every color from beyond the spectrum. Looking at it directly makes minds bleed. Dispersal pattern. Omega, Steve commands, don't let it focus. The Avengers scatter. Thor launches skyward, Stormbreaker crackling with the Bifrost's power. For Midgard! Lightning strikes the devourer. It absorbs the energy, grows. Tony and Rhodey strafe from opposite angles, repulsors at maximum, missiles, lasers, everything. The attacks pass through or get absorbed. It's not physical, Tony shouts. It's conceptual. We're fighting an idea. Wanda's chaos magic flares red. Reality manipulation against reality correction. The energies clash and she screams. Blood pours from her nose. I can't. It's too strong. Carol goes binary, full cosmic power. She punches the entity with enough force to shatter planets. Her fist passes through. The devourer touches her. She falls, gasping, power flickering out. Part of her existence becoming uncertain. Bruce catches her. Carol, it's erasing me, she whispers, making reality forget I exist. The devourer's voice echoes. Futile. You cannot harm universal law. Cease resistance. Surrender the anomaly. Peter swings past its mass, webbing doing nothing. We need a plan. Strange, please tell me you've got something. Strange floats in the center of a golden mandala, hands weaving patterns frantically. Sweat pours down his face. I'm trying to contain it, but it's not a being. It's a function, like trying to contain gravity. Clint fires explosive arrows. They detonate inside the entity harmlessly. So we're what, just supposed to give up? No, Steve's shield ricochets off nothing. We don't give up, we adapt. But there's nothing to adapt to. The devourer reaches down, not for the heroes, for the compound, for the ground itself. Where it touches, reality unravels. The earth becomes uncertain. Buildings phase between existing and not existing. People scream as they flicker in and out of causality. It's targeting the planet, Bruce yells. If it erases Earth, everyone dies. Natasha finishes grimly. Gojo stands in the center of the chaos, watching his infinity fail completely. No barrier, no protection. Just a man with cosmic-level techniques and zero defense, vulnerable for the first time in 22 years. And it's terrifying, but also liberating. He can feel the air on his skin, the ground under his feet, real, immediate, human. The devourer focuses on him. Gojo Satoru, paradox, inconsistency. Your existence violates universal coherence. Removal is necessary. Do not resist. Yeah, Gojo says quietly. I get it. I'm the problem. You're not. Peter starts. I am. Gojo's voice is calm. My technique divides infinity. The devourer exists to resolve paradoxes. We can't both exist in the same space. One of us has to go. The entity reaches for him. Strange's shields flare. Gojo, wait. There's one option. The domain expansion, universal scale. I know. Everyone stops. You know. Tony's faceplate snaps up. I figured it out 10 minutes ago. Gojo's 6 eyes glow behind his blindfold. My infinity creates paradox. The Devourer resolves paradox. But if I create an infinite paradox, trap it in a domain where space divides forever, recursive, self-consuming, it would collapse on itself, Strange finishes, the paradox consuming the paradox resolver. But Gojo, it would burn out my technique, 6 eyes, limitless, everything that makes me the strongest. Gojo's hands are steady. I'd be human, powerless, normal. Silence. The Devourer presses closer. Reality glitches harder. People are dying. The planet is being unmade inch by inch. There has to be another way, Peter says desperately. We can evacuate everyone, find a different dimension, regroup, and let how many die while we run. Gojo shakes his head. No, this is on me. I came here. I broke reality. I fix it. Steve steps forward. This isn't on you. You didn't choose this. But I'm choosing now. Gojo looks at him. You'd make the same call. Don't pretend you wouldn't. Steve's jaw clenches, because Gojo's right. Thor lands heavily. There must be another way. Your power, you are the strongest. Without it, I'm a teacher. Gojo interrupts. That's who I was before the power. That's who I'll be after. Bruce is frantically calculating. The energy requirements alone, it could kill you, not just remove your power, but I know. Natasha's voice is quiet. And you're okay with that? Gojo thinks of his students, Megumi, Yuji, Nobara, gone, unreachable. He thinks of Geto, dead by his hand. He thinks of 22 years standing at the peak, alone, untouchable. And he thinks of the last 2 days, Peter's hand on his shoulder, the Avengers defending him to cosmic entities, being part of something instead of apart from everything. Yeah, he says, I'm okay with it. The Devourer tears wider into reality. Buildings collapse, the compound's shields fail, people run, scream, die. We're out of time, Tony says grimly. Wanda stumbles. I can't hold the reality anchors much longer. Carol can barely stand. It's spreading. If we don't stop it now. The Devourer's voice booms. Final warning. Surrender the anomaly, or witness planetary erasure. Strange's hands shake as he maintains his shields. Gojo, if you do this, the execution has to be perfect. One mistake and you die. No powers, no protection, just gone. Then I won't make a mistake. Gojo walks forward, away from the group, toward the center of the compound's courtyard. I'm a teacher. We don't fail our final exams. Peter runs after him. Wait, you can't just... Gojo stops, turns, smiles. Peter Parker, kid, thank you. For what? For reminding me what it's like to be human. Gojo's voice cracks slightly. I forgot, for a long time, what it meant to need people, to trust them. You showed me that again. Peter's eyes fill with tears. Then don't do this, please. There has to be. There isn't. Gojo touches Peter's shoulder, actually touches it. No infinity, no barrier, just contact. Take care of them, okay? The students you teach, be better than I was. Don't let them stand alone. Gojo, promise me. Peter can't speak. AK just nods. Gojo looks at the assembled Avengers, warriors, heroes, friends he's known for days but who've shown him more acceptance than he had in years. Thank you, he says to all of them, for defending me, for making me feel less alone. Steve's voice is rough. You're one of us. That doesn't change. Even without the power? Especially without it, Steve says firmly. Power doesn't make the hero. The choice does. Gojo's throat tightens. He positions himself in the center. Cursed energy, what's left of it, begins to gather. Strange's voice is heavy. The spell requires absolute focus. I'll guide you through the dimensional matrices. But Gojo, once you start, you can't stop. Halfway means the Devourer wins and you die anyway. Understood. Tony steps forward. For the record, this is a terrible plan. I hate it. We should have more time to... We don't, Gojo interrupts gently. And Tony, the tech analysis you were doing on my infinity, scrap it. Won't matter after this. It matters because you're coming back from this, Tony says fiercely. Human or not, you're coming back. Gojo nods. The Devourer looms, reality fractures, Earth itself begins to flicker. Everyone back, Strange commands. When the domain expands, don't enter it. The infinite space will trap you too. The heroes retreat to the compound's edge. Gojo stands alone in the center. He removes his blindfold. His eyes, the 6 eyes that see everything, process infinity, perceive the fundamental structure of reality, glow brilliant blue for the last time. Domain expansion, he begins. Energy swirls, space warps. Unlimited void. The Devourer rushes toward him. Cease. You will be unmade. Gojo meets its approach calmly. No, he says. You will. The heroes watch. Some pray, some calculate. All hope. Peter's fists clench. Come on, please. Strange's hands glow. I'm ready. Whenever you are, Gojo. Gojo's cursed energy explodes outward. Blue, red, purple. All of it. Everything he has. Every ounce of power he was born with. The strength that made him the strongest. All of it burning away. Fuel for one final technique. Steve's jaw sets. Do it. Gojo looks back. One last glance at Earth. At the heroes. At the chance for a normal life he might not survive to see. Do it, Steve repeats firmly. We're with you. All the way, Tony adds. Thor raises Stormbreaker in salute. Peter whispers, You've got this, Sensei. Gojo smiles, turns to face the Devourer, spreads his arms wide, and speaks the words that will change everything. Domain expansion, unlimited void, eternal seal. Reality inverts, infinity manifests. The universe screams, and Gojo Satoru, the strongest sorcerer, begins his final technique. The domain begins to form. Not gradually, not carefully, explosively. Space inverts, up becomes down, forward becomes inside out. The fundamental coordinates of reality forget how to work. Gojo's cursed energy detonates outward in a sphere of pure infinity. Blue light, the color of his technique, of spatial manipulation, of the impossible made manifest, consumes everything within a quarter-mile radius. The Avengers shield their eyes. The light is blinding. Inside the domain, Gojo stands at the center of an infinite white void, his technique made external, made real, made absolute, and the Devourer is there with him. What have you done? Something I should have thought of earlier, Gojo says, his voice echoes infinitely. You exist to resolve paradoxes, but what happens when you're trapped in a paradox? The domain's true nature manifests. Unlimited void, infinite information poured into finite minds, every possible thought, sensation, perception happening simultaneously, forever. But this version is different. Twisted, sealed. Instead of pouring information into the Devourer, it creates an infinite loop. The entity experiences infinity trying to resolve infinity. A paradox consuming itself, recursive, eternal. The Devourer screams. Not sound, concept, the scream of a universal constant being violated. Impossible. Paradox cannot contain paradox resolution. This violates everything, Gojo finishes. I know, that's the point. Outside the domain, the heroes watch in awe and horror. The sphere of blue light expands, then contracts, then expands again, pulsing like a heartbeat. Each pulse sends shockwaves across the compound. Stranger's hands glow brighter, anchoring the dimensional matrices. It's working, the Devourer's being trapped in the recursive loop. But Gojo, the energy output. I see it, Tony says, sensors screaming. He's burning through his reserves, fast. Friday, how long can he maintain this? Unknown, sir. His energy signature is depleting exponentially. Inside the domain, Gojo feels it. His cursed energy pouring out like water from a broken dam. The six eyes processing at impossible speeds, maintaining the infinite recursion, keeping the Devourer locked in the paradox. It hurts. God, it hurts. His eyes burn, literally burn. The six eyes working beyond their limits, beyond what any human body should withstand. Blood runs from his tear ducts, crimson against white void. The Devourer thrashes against the infinite loop. Each attempt to escape creates another layer of paradox. Each layer requires more energy to maintain. Gojo's reserves are finite. Infinity is not. The math is simple. He's going to run out. You cannot sustain this. Your power diminishes. Release me now, and I will grant swift erasure. Tempting, Gojo gasps. But I'm not really the quitting type. He pushes harder. Blue energy intensifies. The domain expands further, now encompassing Alpha Mile. A mile. Strange staggers. Gojo, you're going too far. If the domain expands beyond my anchors, then anchor. Harder. Gojo's voice comes through, strained. Almost got it. The Devourer is fragmenting, breaking apart under the weight of infinite paradox, but it's fighting back. If I fall, you fall with me. Yeah, Gojo acknowledges. I know. His vision is dimming. The six eyes, his gift, his curse, the thing that made him the strongest, are burning out. He can feel them failing. The perfect perception, the infinite processing, the ability to see cursed energy, probability, the fundamental structure of reality itself. Going, gone. One eye goes dark. The left one just stops working. No more cosmic perception, just pain. Gojo screams. Outside, the domain flickers. No, Peter shouts. He's failing. Steve's fists clench. Come on, you can do this. The right eye holds, barely, processing the entire domain alone now. Gojo's body is breaking down. Blood pours from his nose, his ears. His cursed energy is at 10%. 5, 3. The Devourer senses victory. You are finished. Not yet. Gojo makes a choice. The six eyes can process infinity because they're part of infinity, connected to something beyond human comprehension. If he severs that connection, burns the bridge completely, there'll be one final surge of power, enough to collapse the domain inward, trap the Devourer permanently, but after that, no six eyes, no limitless, no cursed energy. Human, completely, utterly human. Images flash through his mind. Megumi's annoyed face. You're late again, Sensei. Yuji's grin. Watch this technique I learned. Nobara's eye roll. You're impossible. Geto's smile. Before everything went wrong. We'll protect them, Satoru. Together. His students, his friend, his past. Then, new images. Peter's earnest face. We don't stand alone. Steve's firm voice. You're one of us. Tony's sarcasm masking care. We're coming back for you. Stranger's respect. You have more courage than most sorcerers I've met. Thor's warrior nod. Your sacrifice will be honored. His new world, his new purpose, his future, both matter. Both are worth protecting. Okay, Gojo whispers. Blood runs down his face. Let's finish this. He reaches deep, to the core of his being, to the fundamental connection between his soul and the six eyes, and he burns it. The energy surge is spectacular. Blue light erupts like a supernova. The domain expands to 3 miles. 5. 10. Everyone within 50 miles sees it. A sphere of impossible blue light consuming the sky. The devourer is caught in the center. The infinite paradox collapses inward. No, this is impossible. You cannot. Watch me, Gojo says, and he speaks the final words, the seal, the lock. Binding vow, self-imposed limitation. I, Gojo Satoru, forfeit my six eyes and limitless technique, permanently, irrevocably, in exchange. His voice rises to a shout that echoes across dimensions. Eternal imprisonment of the devourer of coherence. Reality accepts the contract. The vow activates. Gojo's eyes flare one final time. Brilliant, beautiful blue, the color of infinite sky, endless ocean, eternal possibility. Then they dim. The six eyes burn out completely. The divine perception gone. The cosmic awareness severed. The connection to infinity itself cut. His eyes are just blue, normal blue, human blue. The domain collapses inward catastrophically. All that infinite space, all that impossible energy crushing down into a single point. The devourer is caught in the center, compressed, sealed, trapped in a recursive paradox that will loop forever, unable to escape, unable to resolve, unable to affect reality ever again. No! The scream cuts off. Silence. The blue light vanishes. Reality snaps back into place. The compound grounds are scorched but intact. The sky is clear. The dimensional tears, all 17 of them, sealed shut. And in the center of the courtyard, Gojo Satoru collapses. He hits the ground hard. No infinity to cushion the fall. No cursed energy to sustain him. Just a human body that's been pushed far beyond its limits. Gojo! Peter's there first, skidding to his knees. Oh God! Oh God! Steve sprints over. Medic, we need medical now! Tony's already scanning. His energy signature, it's gone. Completely human. Friday, vitals. Heartbeat detected. Weak but stable. Breathing shallow. Multiple internal injuries. Severe energy depletion. Recommend immediate. Bruce transforms mid-run back to human. Medical instincts overriding Hulk rage. Don't move him. His body's in shock. Strange kneels, hands glowing. I'm stabilizing him, but the energy burn. It's unlike anything I've seen. Gojo's eyes flutter open. Blue, just blue. No cosmic glow. No infinite depth. Normal. He tries to focus on the faces above him. It's harder than it should be. His vision is limited, finite. He can only see what's directly in front of him. It's strange. It's terrifying. It's wonderful. Did it work? His voice is barely a whisper. Peter's crying. Yeah, it worked. You diced it. The devourer's gone. The tears are sealed. You saved everyone. Good. Gojo tries to smile. That's good. He tries to activate infinity, just a reflex, the automatic defense that's protected him for 22 years. Nothing happens. His hand trembles. He brings it to his face, touches his eyes. They feel different, normal, finite. My technique, he breathes. It's really gone. Yes, Strange says gently. Gojo laughs. It turns into a cough. Blood flecks his lips. I'm human, he says, wonder in his voice. Completely human. No powers, no six eyes, no infinity. Just me. You're alive, Steve says firmly. That's what matters. Is it? Gojo's eyes focus on him. I was the strongest. That's all I was. Without it, what am I? A hero, Thor says, kneeling beside them. A warrior who sacrificed everything for others. That is more than strength. That is valor. Tony's voice is thick. You're still you, dumbass. Just human you. Welcome to the club. It sucks. You'll love it. Natasha appears with a medkit. Can you move? Gojo tries. Pain explodes through every nerve. Not really. Don't, Bruce orders. You've got internal bleeding, possible organ damage, and your body's cannibalizing itself trying to compensate for the energy depletion. You need a medical facility, now. The Devourer? Gojo asks. Sealed, Strange confirms. Your vow locked it in an eternal paradox loop. It can't escape, can't affect reality. You did it, Gojo. You saved Earth, possibly the multiverse. Good. Gojo's eyes start to close. That's good. I just need rest for a minute. Stay with us. Peter shakes him gently. Don't you dare die after all that. Gojo's eyes open again. He looks at Peter. Really looks. Without cosmic perception, just human sight. And Peter looks terrified. Young. Brave. Like a student. Not dying, Gojo manages. Just tired. Being human is exhausting. You'll get used to it, Steve says. Promise. I promise. Medical teams arrive. Stretcher, scans, urgent voices discussing blood pressure and internal trauma. As they lift him, Gojo reaches out, grabs Peter's hand. Actually grabs it. No barrier, no infinity, just skin on skin. Warm, real, human. Thank you, Gojo whispers, for reminding me what this feels like. Peter squeezes back, tears streaming. You're gonna be okay. You have to be okay. They rush Gojo toward the medical bay. The Avengers watch him go. Above them, the sky is clear. Blue. Normal. 17-dimensional tiers sealed. The Devourer imprisoned. Earth saved. But the victory feels hollow. Because Gojo Satoru, the strongest sorcerer, the impossible teacher, the untouchable warrior, is now just a man. Broken, bleeding, human, and no one knows if he'll survive the transition. Chateau. 3 days later, medical bay, quiet, sterile. Gojo wakes slowly. His body aches. Everything aches. Is this what normal people feel like all the time? He opens his eyes. The ceiling comes into focus. Just a ceiling. White tiles. Fluorescent lights. No cursed energy flows. No probability threads. No cosmic perception. Just sight. Limited. Finite. Human. He turns his head. Peter's asleep in a chair beside the bed, head on his arms, still in his Spider-Man suit from the waist down, civilian clothes on top, keeping vigil. Gojo's throat tightens. He tries to speak. His voice cracks. Kid. Peter jerks awake. Gojo, you're awake. Friday, tell Dr. Cho he's awake. I'm here, Peter. Helen Cho's voice comes from the doorway. She approaches with a tablet. Welcome back, Mr. Satoru. You've been unconscious for 72 hours. How do you feel? Gojo considers. Like I got hit by a planet. That's not inaccurate. Your body underwent massive trauma, but you're stable, healing. You'll recover fully. Fully human, Gojo says. Yes. He looks at his hands. Normal hands. He tries to sense cursed energy. Nothing. Tries to activate infinity. Nothing. Tries to use his 6 eyes. Nothing. Just nothing. For the first time in his life, he's powerless. And somewhere deep in his chest, beneath the pain and the loss and the grief, there's relief. The Devourer, he asks. Sealed, Peter confirms. The dimensional tiers are closed. Strange says your binding vow will hold forever. It's over. Good. Silence. Then Peter. How are you really? Gojo doesn't answer immediately. How is he? Powerless, vulnerable, no longer the strongest, but alive, part of a team, valued for more than his technique. Human. I don't know yet, he admits. Ask me again in a few weeks. Peter smiles, watery but genuine. Deal. The door opens. Fury walks in, eye patch, long coat, intimidating as hell. Mr. Satoru, we need to talk about your future. And despite everything, the pain, the loss, the uncertainty, Gojo smiles. Because he has a future. That's more than he expected. Fury doesn't sit, just stands at the foot of Gojo's hospital bed, arms crossed. The UN Security Council met yesterday, he says without preamble, discussed the Gojo situation. Thethas, that's what they're calling it. Gojo shifts carefully. Everything still hurts. And you're a dimensional refugee who broke reality 17 times, fought a cosmic entity, and burned yourself down to baseline human saving the planet. Fury's expression is unreadable. Some delegates think you're a hero. Others think you're a liability. A few want you shipped back to your dimension. Can't go back, Gojo says quietly. The barriers are sealed. That was the point. I know. Which brings us to the question. What do we do with you? Peter stands. He stays. Obviously. He's saved. Fury holds up a hand. Relax, Parker. I'm not the enemy here. He looks back at Gojo. The council voted. 3 options were on the table. Deportation, off the table, impossible. Detention, argued against by yours truly and several Avengers. Or integration with oversight. Oversight meaning, you work with us, the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D. adjacent. You help train the next generation of enhanced individuals. In exchange, you get legal residency, protection, and a stipend. Gojo processes this. I'm not an Avenger. I have no powers. Neither does Clint. Neither does Natasha. Power isn't the point. Fury's tone softens fractionally. You sacrificed everything to protect people you'd known for days. That's the kind of character we need, especially in teachers. Teachers. Stark's been talking about a program, training young enhanced individuals, kids who don't know how to control their abilities. You've got experience there. Fury pulls out a tablet, sets it on the bed. This is the contract. Read it. Think about it. No pressure. What if I say no? Then you're a civilian, free to do whatever. Get a normal job, disappear into society. We'd help with documentation, identity, all that. Fury's eye meets Gojo's. But I don't think you'll say no. You're not built to sit on the sidelines. He's right. Gojo knows it. I'll read it, he says. Fury nods. Good. Welcome to Earth, Mr. Satoru. Officially. He heads for the door, pauses. For what it's worth, what you did was one of the bravest things I've seen, and I've seen a lot. He leaves. Peter exhales. That went better than I expected. You expected worse? I expected detention in a S.H.I.E.L.D. facility for like a decade. Gojo huffs a laugh, winces. Still hurts to laugh. Sorry. Don't be. Gojo looks at the contra. At legal language. Terms. Conditions. Peter, can you read this to me? My eyes. He gestures vaguely, still adjusting. Everything's blurrier than it used to be. Peter takes the tablet, starts reading. It's fair, generous even. Residency, work authorization, medical coverage, a teaching position once he's recovered. And at the bottom, a note in Stark's handwriting. No kill switches, no tracking chips. You're not a weapon, you're a person. Welcome to the team. Tony. Gojo's chest tightens. Tell Fury I accept, he says. 6 weeks later, Avengers compound, training facility. Gojo moves through a combat drill with Natasha. No powers, no cursed energy, just technique, footwork, prediction. She sweeps his leg. He rolls, comes up, adapts. Better, she says. You're learning to fight like a human. Still weird. Gojo wipes sweat from his forehead. Used to just teleport behind people. Now you have to actually work for it. She tosses him a water bottle. He catches it. Barely. His reflexes are still adjusting. Your perception's improving, she observes. 2 weeks ago you'd have missed that. 2 weeks ago I walked into 3 doors. Progress is progress. They sit on the training mat. Gojo drinks water. It tastes better than it used to. Or maybe he's just more aware of taste now. Everything is more immediate, more real. How are you really doing? Natasha asks. And don't give me the tough guy routine. I invented that routine. Gojo considers. It's strange. I spent 22 years as the strongest. Untouchable. Now I'm not. I bruise. I bleed. I get tired. Welcome to being human. Yeah, he flexes his hand. But also, it's freeing. I don't have to be the strongest anymore. Don't have to have all the answers. I can just be. That's growth. Or denial. Both can be true. The door opens. Steve enters, shield on his back. Morning session going well? He only fell twice today, Natasha reports. I'm right here, Gojo mutters. Steve smiles. Twice is better than yesterday's 4. You're adapting fast. Teacher's instinct. Learn quick or the students surpass you. Speaking of, Steve pulls out a folder. We've got our first candidate for the training program, Kamala Khan, 16, just manifested polymorphic abilities, scared, confused, could use a teacher who understands feeling like an outsider. Gojo takes the folder, reads, a girl from Jersey City, powers she doesn't understand, family that doesn't know how to help. He sees his students in her file, Megumi's uncertainty, Yuji's fear of hurting people, Nobara's determination to prove herself. When do I meet her? He asks. Next week, if you're ready. I'm ready. Later that afternoon, Gojo walks through Queens with Peter. Civilian clothes, no blindfold. His eyes are normal now, sensitive to bright light but manageable with sunglasses. People recognize him. Hey, that's the guy from the news. The one who fought the reality monster. A kid runs up, maybe 8 years old, clutching a drawing. Mr. Gojo, I drew you. Gojo kneels. The movement is careful. His body still remembers the trauma. Yeah, let me see. The drawing shows stick figures, the Avengers labeled in crayon, and, there in the middle, a figure with white hair and blue eyes. You saved my mom, the kid says. She was in New York when the scary thing came. She said you stopped it. Gojo's throat tightens. I had help, lots of help. But you were really brave. The kid hugs him suddenly. No infinity to stop it. Just a kid's arms around his waist. Warm, real, human. Gojo hugs back. Thank you, he whispers. The kid runs back to his mother, who waves gratefully. Peter watches with a smile. You're good at this, the whole hero thing. I'm not a hero, not anymore. No powers, remember? Heroes aren't defined by powers, Peter says. They're defined by choices. You chose to save everyone. That's pretty heroic. They continue walking, pass a ramen shop. Want to grab food? Peter asks. Yeah. Gojo realizes he's hungry. Actually hungry. He can't remember the last time he felt hunger this acutely. Yeah, that sounds good. That evening, rooftop of Avengers compound. Gojo sits alone, looking at stars. Still wrong, still unfamiliar, but less lonely. Peter finds him there, again, like that night 6 weeks ago. You know, this is becoming our thing, Peter says, settling beside him. What is? Finding you on rooftops, looking contemplative. Gojo huffs a laugh. Someone's got to be dramatic. Mr. Stark has that covered. They sit in comfortable silence. Then Peter. Do you miss it? The power? Gojo thinks. Sometimes, when I see a threat and my instinct is to teleport, but my body doesn't respond, or when I reach for infinity and there's nothing there. He pauses. But mostly, no. The power was lonely. Being human is messy, complicated, but I'm not alone anymore. No, Peter agrees. You're not. I was thinking about my students today, Gojo says quietly. Megumi, Yuji, Nobara, they're moving on without me, learning, growing. Maybe they're better off. Or maybe they miss you, wonder where you went, hope you're okay. Maybe. Gojo pulls out his phone, the one from his dimension. No signal, obviously, but the photos remain. His students frozen in time. He looks at them, feels the ache of loss. Then he puts the phone away. I can't go back, he says. The barriers are sealed. That was the price. But I can move forward, be here, fully. That's very zen, Peter observes. I'm a teacher. We're full of wisdom. Gojo smiles. Besides, I've got work to do. Kamala Khan needs training. You need someone to tell you your web shooters need recalibration. I saw you miss 3 swings today, and apparently Tony wants me to consult on spatial mathematics. So you're staying? Yeah, I'm staying. Gojo looks at the stars. Wrong, but beautiful in their own way. This universe isn't mine by birth, but it's mine by choice, and that matters more than I expected. The compound alarm chirps, not urgent, just a notification. Friday's voice. Avengers assemble for briefing. Hydra activity detected in Eastern Europe. Deployment in 30 minutes. Peter stands, pulling his mask from his pocket. Duty calls. Gojo stands too. No powers, no cosmic awareness, just a human body that's still healing. But when Steve's voice comes over comms, Gojo, you're on tactical support, eyes in the sky from the Quinjet. He doesn't hesitate. On my way. They head inside. Peter pauses at the door. Hey, Sensei? Yeah? I'm glad you're here. Glad you chose to stay. Gojo's smile is genuine. Me too, kid. Me too. Quinjet, 30 minutes later. The team gears up. Steve briefs. Tony jokes. Natasha checks weapons. Thor tells a story about Hydra's predecessors in ancient Germania. And Gojo sits at the tactical station, monitoring feeds, coordinating, teaching. No longer the strongest, but still valued, still needed, still someone. The jet lifts off. Through the window, Earth spreads below. Cities, oceans, continents. 7 billion lives, worth protecting, worth sacrificing for, worth staying for. Gojo's phone buzzes in his pocket. Odd. It shouldn't have signal. It's from another dimension. He pulls it out. Unknown number. The message loads slowly. Then, Sensei, it's Megumi. We found a way. Dimensional barriers are thin in some places. We're working on stabilizing a bridge. Don't know if this will reach you, but we're coming. Hold on. We're coming to bring you home. Gojo stares at the screen. His students, finding a way. Of course they are. He trained them too well. He could wait, could let them come, could go home. Back to his world, his purpose, his students, everything he lost. He looks around the Quinjet. At Steve, planning the mission. At Peter, nervous but ready. At the team he's become part of. His new world, his new purpose, his new family. He types a response. I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm home. Stay there. Protect our world. I'll protect this one. That's what teachers do. We watch over our students, even from far away. I'm proud of you, all of you. Keep training, keep growing, and tell Yuji to stop eating my snacks. I know it's him. He hesitates, then adds, I love you kids. Be safe. He sends it, puts the phone away. Steve looks back. You good? Gojo nods. Yeah, he says, I'm good. The Quinjet breaks atmosphere, heading toward the mission. And Gojo Satoru, no longer the strongest, no longer untouchable, no longer the god-tier sorcerer, smiles. Because power isn't what makes you valuable. Connection is, purpose is. Choosing to protect people, even when it costs everything. He was the strongest because he had to be. Now he's human because he chose to be. And that choice, that sacrifice, that willingness to let go of power for the sake of others, that's the real strength. Not infinity, humanity. The Quinjet speeds through the sky. Below, Earth turns. Above, stars shine. And somewhere between the two, Gojo Satoru finds peace. Not in power, in purpose, in belonging, in being finally, truly, completely home.